Guillaume Soro. A political figure misjudged and misunderstood. In the Ivorian political landscape, Guillaume Soro remains both controversial and fascinating. A former rebel leader, his military background is often used by his detractors to disqualify him from any claim to the highest office. However, this one-dimensional analysis overlooks the complexity of his career and the breadth of his vision for Côte d'Ivoire. If we take a closer look at his political journey, Guillaume Soro could well embody a unique opportunity for national renewal, provided we overcome prejudices. A unique journey comparable to historical leaders. Many prominent political figures began their careers in contexts of struggle or rebellion, before becoming architects of change. Guillaume Soro is part of this lineage of leaders who have successfully converted their turbulent past into a transformative force. Nelson Mandela, once leader of the armed ANC, Umkhonto we Sizwe, was imprisoned for 27 years before becoming a symbol of reconciliation in South Africa and the country's first black president. Jerry Rawlings, a former Ghanaian army officer, came to power in a coup d'état in 1981. However, he abandoned authoritarian methods to devote himself to a democratic transition that transformed Ghana into a stable democracy. Simon Bolivar, nicknamed the Liberator, led armed rebellions to liberate several Latin American countries from colonial rule. His vision of unity and independence has influenced generations. These examples show that, in times of crisis, figures deemed too bold or controversial have often been best placed to redefine the future. Guillaume Soro, as a disruptive figure, could offer Côte d'Ivoire a chance to reinvent itself. A man of convictions and courage, Guillaume Soro distinguished himself through his perseverance and unwavering commitment. Unlike many politicians who shift their positions as opportunities arise, he remained true to his ideals, even in the face of considerable adversity. His leadership within the new forces illustrates his ability to coordinate and unite in complex contexts. Despite his exile and the accusations against him, he continues to champion ambitious ideas for his country, particularly in the areas of social justice, economic sovereignty, and regional integration. Côte d'Ivoire, still marked by post-crisis divisions, needs a leader capable of fighting for his beliefs and laying the foundations for true national reconciliation. Arguments to reconsider Guillaume Soro. If the President of Generations and Peoples in Solidarity, GPS, is so criticized, it is often due to a lack of awareness of his potential. Here are 3 additional reasons to reconsider his role in the Ivorian political future. 1. A sovereign and Pan-African vision. Soro advocates a break with the economic dependencies inherited from colonization through structural reforms. This approach is crucial at a time when the sovereignty of African nations is undermined by global geopolitical issues. 2. An ability to bridge divisions. As a former key player in the Ouagadougou Accords, he has demonstrated his ability to negotiate and build compromises in conflict-ridden environments. This bridge-building ability could be essential for a Côte d'Ivoire seeking lasting peace. 3. A role model for youth. In a country where the majority of the population is young, Guillaume Soro represents a dynamic, accessible figure, rooted in the aspirations of new generations. His rhetoric in favor of education, entrepreneurship, and inclusion is all assets for building a sustainable future. Challenges facing Guillaume Soro. Despite these positive points, Soro cannot claim the role of unifier without addressing certain major challenges. 1. Recognition and responsibility. He must acknowledge past mistakes, not only to allay resentment, but also to inspire confidence and strengthen his credibility. 2. A clear political program. He must transform his ideals into realistic, quantified public policies that meet the immediate needs of Ivorians, particularly in terms of security, employment, and rural development. 3. Overcoming the stigma of his rebellious past. An effective communication strategy is essential to explain his personal and political evolution. He must show that he is now a mature statesman, ready to govern wisely. Conclusion. An opportunity for Côte d'Ivoire. Guillaume Soro is undoubtedly a misjudged and misunderstood political figure. Behind the criticism lies a potential for bold leadership, based on strong convictions and a rare ability to navigate complex situations. If Côte d'Ivoire aspires to true renewal, it must overcome stereotypes and examine its leaders' proposals in a fresh light. To succeed, Guillaume Soro will have to live up to expectations by embodying an inclusive, visionary, and reconciliatory policy. Côte d'Ivoire, armed with lessons from the past, could then envision a future where divisions are erased in favor of lasting unity, and truly sovereign development.
I'd like to address the people who make videos against Guillaume Soro. I'm talking, for example, about Herman Le Patriot. In fact, I salute him from his position. The GPS today is one of the political groups that has fought since the times when we were buried in our silence. They are the ones who fought, who worked to awaken consciences. If Guillaume Soro hadn't left the government, today they could have put him in office. And Soro would have been able to eat his fill. He could have benefited from all the state's largesse, but he said no. He's out of there, so please, that's not the fight. If you like, after 2025, we can talk about everything that happened in the country. We'll put everything on the table for discussion, but now is not the time. The unity of the opposition is what we're asking for. You want Guillaume Soro arrested and imprisoned at the ICC at all costs. But what is prison for? It serves to reflect, to become aware of the acts that have been committed. But someone, without even having been in prison and still being within the power, while he could eat well, it was at that moment that he decided to leave because he had already realized that he had a role to play for reconciliation in Côte d'Ivoire. His conscience is working on him, and because his conscience is working on him, he is in the process of repairing what he did in the past. So for that reason, leave the GPS alone. Leave the GPS alone. While you were sleeping, going about your business, having forgotten that power was no longer in the hands of the Ivorians, there was the GPS fighting. We saw La Guipe, Soli de Paris, we have seen all the GPS people for years on social networks doing consciousness raising. It's thanks to them that we are where we are, today. They are the ones who started the fight, and today we can benefit from this fight. You make noise, but I'm sure there are documents that Guillaume Soro refused to sign. There are documents if he signs, they put him in power. You know very well how it goes. So stop making noise for nothing as if you had the power to chase people away or put them in power.
I would like to say to them the thought of Confucius. And I quote him: "When the wise man points at the moon, the idiot looks at the finger." Let me explain. When, for the sake of the nation, for the sake of the nation's happiness, the wise men of our country show the voice of peace, they persist in violating the Constitution, in perjuring themselves. Thus, I repeat, when the wise man points at the moon, the fool looks at the finger.
Chris Yapi does not lie. Find Chris Yapi on his 2 YouTube channels, his Rumble channel, his TikTok, X, Instagram, VK and Threads accounts.